After the Super Bowl with Kansas City's win over San Francisco still sparking tons of conversations, tales of big wins from bets on the Chiefs are everywhere. Despite this outcome, betting on Kansas City was not based on the wisest long-term strategy. A seasoned fellow betting professional and good friend of mine often says the biggest mistake amateurs make is thinking short-term, getting swept up in today's win without considering the future implications. This is akin to a caffeine rush without the thought of the inevitable crash. So let's dissect this past Super Bowl and its lessons for sharp betting. With a growing number of sportsbooks across Las Vegas and now the entire USA, the betting landscape is complex. For example, in my favorite large, stable Las Vegas book, the Super Bowl look-ahead line was 49ers minus 1.5. Then it moved at the official opening to -1 due to the 49ers' unexpected struggle with the Lions in the NFC Championship. Shortly after the open, even though twice as much money was bet on Kansas City versus San Francisco, Vegas unexpectedly nudged the line to -1.5, a clear signal to me that Las Vegas was leaning towards the 49ers. As the money continued to pour in on Kansas City, the line shifted even further out to -2. Still, with twice as much money on Kansas City as on San Francisco. Then came Super Bowl Sunday afternoon when some of the money started disappearing on Kansas City. Again, oddly, Las Vegas moved the line back to -1.5, which said to me that Vegas was no longer leaning 49ers. I assumed that meant Vegas knew there was some oddball money coming in and assumed that at least half of it would be Kansas City. Immediately, I backed off the bet as the game was just too close to call. In fact, I shot my video there and then passing on this game. Later that afternoon at 5:11 p.m. Eastern, Las Vegas moved the line back to -2 and then out further to -2.5. I knew then for sure what had happened. A majority of the big money was coming in on the 49ers. Later, I found out the facts and they supported my theory. An hour and a half prior to game time, there were 10 separate $1 million or larger bets, and 9 of them were on San Francisco. That forced Vegas to move the lines out to limit additional betting damage. Sure, some square bettors like Drake bet their $1 million on the Chiefs, but all of the sharps played San Francisco. Vegas wasn't taking a stance as much as they were doing a balancing act to avoid too much money on one side or the other in a very close game. Vegas had no stance, other than their AI originally calculating the expected value on San Francisco being better than that of the Chiefs. In this situation, I recognize that despite the Super Bowl being the sports world's highlight of the year, it presented a far less attractive betting opportunity than most all regular NFL season games. The reality is the significance of a huge championship game often inversely relates to the value of its wagering opportunity due to the teams being more evenly matched. Moreover, when teams are evenly matched, as often seen in the finals, Vegas sets very tight lines, making it harder to find value in bets. For example, the total in the Super Bowl game was 47.5 the entire time until Saturday when it moved to 47. And as you know, the Super Bowl ended in exactly 47 points. True professionals make their money during the season, and not by loading up on extremely tight games. I'm a true Vegas wagering professional as I've learned how to read the Las Vegas line moves, and I know when Las Vegas is taking a side. By playing the games that Las Vegas is taking a side on, I am playing with the house and not against it. This is a truly novel concept in sports wagering. Playing with the house is how I was able to attain a 47.6% ROI throughout this past entire NFL season. Many of you might not be familiar with the concept of ROI, and how ROI differs from simple win percentage. So let's examine this closely. Imagine I had a unit strength of $1,000 and I bet a single unit on 10 games with odds of -110. This is very common in the NFL, for example. Say I did exceptionally well and won 7 of those 10 games. My simple win percentage would be 7/10 or 70% win rate. Now let's examine my corresponding ROI from this hypothetical scenario. Each of the individual wins at -110 would earn me $909.09. Multiplying that by 7 wins, I have won a total of $6,363.63. However, after accounting for the 3 losses at $1,000 each, my actual earnings are $3,363.63 from $10,000 worth of bets, resulting in a 33.6% return on investment. This is phenomenal, as traditionally the most elite top 3 to 4 Vegas pros top out at an ROI of 20% across an entire season. Most top pros bag about a 57% win rate, which is another way of saying they're recording a 10 to 12% ROI, which is a professional level, and this is fantastic. Now let's examine my proven record-breaking ROI of 47.6%, which I've proven publicly by posting all of my plays for free, time-stamped before the games on all of my social media platforms. This 47.6% ROI translates into a win rate of 77% of all of my bets across the entire NFL season. Again, although this is 3 times the ROI of most any pro out there, it is not a cause to declare myself the best sports handicapper on earth. The reality is far simpler. I just use my AI algorithms to decode exactly what Las Vegas is doing, and then I just play with the house. It is simple game theory. Going back to the Super Bowl, Vegas had no clear position hours before the games, therefore I did not place a bet. I only play when I see Las Vegas taking a stand, and I'm not saying Vegas is always right and will guarantee anything on a daily basis. However, recapping this NFL season, my strategy has returned 77% winners, leaving me with a 47.6% ROI. Therefore, for every $100,000 I bet during the season, my profit would be $47,600, and I could argue successfully that you're not getting this kind of return from a savings account, money market account, the stock market, etc. You only get this ROI from sports wagering by playing with the house. So, as everyone dissects the Super Bowl's betting aftermath, remember this: the game that is being played on the field is a far different game than the game being waged in the sports books. Most importantly, the media experts and journalists, even the ones on the wagering sites, all with deep football knowledge, do not necessarily translate into sound betting advice. Their expertise in a game does not equate to an understanding of betting odds or probabilities any more than my knowledge of math allows me to throw a 40-yard spiral. In a world where everyone's looking for an edge, understanding the nuances of line movements, ROI, and the value of a disciplined approach isn't just smart, it's essential.